welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney and today I'm going to show you around our greenhouse. Now it is a little bit small, so it's not going to be the longest video in the world, but there are some really cool updates about my plants that I'm really excited to show you. So let's go check it out. Okay, so this is our greenhouse, and my mom bought it, so I'm not exactly sure what brand it is or how big it is, but I will insert a picture right here to give you the information that you're probably going to be asking. How much is it, like how much did it cost, how big is it, and where can you buy one if you're interested. And I will also post the link down below so that if you do want one yourself, you can follow the link and purchase it. So on the outside I have these stackable planters, which this one has herbs, so cilantro and dill, and this is just kind of for fun. I don't know if these herbs are cold hardy, but I put them out here just to kind of see, and if they don't grow, it's not a big deal. In here I have lettuces, so I have iceberg lettuce, freckle lettuce, and then I have spinach. And these obviously aren't going to go to a head, but I will be able to cut them and use them as cut salad greens. And then over here I have radishes. Honestly, I don't know which one's which, but one is purple plum radishes and the other one is watermelon radishes. I left these out here because they are also cold hardy crops, and I know that once they germinate, they will be fine in the cold weather. Now, before I go inside, this is our garden right now. We still obviously have the tarps over it to keep the weeds dead, and soon we're going to be picking the tarps up and tilling it. And then I bought weed fabric, which I'll also link down below and I'll post a picture of, and we're going to use that to keep all the weeds down this year instead of the newspapers. Okay, so here's the inside of the greenhouse. We have a small little heater right here because just the other day it got really cold and there was actually snow. Snow on May 10th is not normal around here, but it does get kind of cold. So we did put that heater in here just for nighttime temps, and then there's a fan just to keep the air circulating. Over here, this is kind of like my mom's area. She has marigolds in here. This one's got a really nice bud on it. And these were started inside. They obviously kind of got away from us because we started them too soon, but they are really pretty to look at in here still, so oh well. Right here are poppies, I believe, and she also started some inside, but they weren't nearly as like healthy as these ones are. These ones have their true leaves and they're doing really well, like I said, especially compared to what was growing inside. And then these are her more newer seedlings. These are dahlias, which are some of my favorite plants. I love dahlias. And then she has more marigolds back here so that she can actually like plant them out, and she did one seed per container. She typically does it like that, where she kind of just scatters the seeds and then she will transplant them and pull them apart, but they grew too fast and the roots got bound together, so she couldn't do that. So this one, she just planted one seed per cell, and they are growing really nicely. And then I can't really read that, but it's something first sets. Some of these have not germinated, but the ones that have are doing really, really well. This cell block right here was another one, and I can't read that one either, but none of those had germinated. And then we have Shasta daisies, and I don't know what's back there. And then these are my dad's. So right here are his cucumbers, which are crazy. Last year I started cucumbers inside. And they grew a little bit too fast, and when I tried to transplant them, they all died. So I'm hoping that because these are just a little bit smaller, they'll do better when they transplant. If not, we have plenty of time. We can plant these in the ground, like we can sow the seeds into the ground and they'll be fine. But it is really pretty to just come here and, you know, play with them. And then back here are bell peppers. So those peppers likely won't make it into the garden this year, just because we already have a really short gardening season, and it has only gotten shorter with all of the cold weather that we've had recently. And I know that a lot of people have been dealing with the same issue, but those are still really, really small, and if we put them outside right now, they would not survive at all. And I'm not confident that they're gonna get big enough within the next couple weeks. So we may have to just use my peppers, but they got started quite a bit later than what's normal. So it was kind of expected that that was gonna happen, but you know, sometimes it is fun just to start seeds, just kind of for fun. But let me turn you back around and show you what else is in here. So right here are watermelon, which they are doing great. It is very, very possible that we may not get fruit off of these. The only way that we can ever really get fruit off of watermelon is if we start them inside, so that they are ahead of the growing season. But even still, we might not reap the benefit of these, but these plants are really, really strong. So hopefully once we get them in the ground, they'll take off and we will have a long enough growing period to plant these. Now, over here, over here is why I stopped making videos about my plants. These are all of the tomatoes that I started inside. I started them way too early, obviously, and now they are just completely out of control and they look like a freaking jungle. But I didn't have the heart to throw them out, and some of them are still really good plants and I can just bury them really deep and they should be fine. I'm gonna make a separate video of me kind of weeding through these plants and figuring out which ones can be saved and which ones can't. Back here, this right here is a pepper, and then we have some pumpkins or squash. I started those for my sister, so I'm not exactly sure what they are. I'd have to check. This one has blooms on it, and I think I'd have to check the cup that it's in, but I think these are Tiny Tim tomatoes. So this is already a dwarf plant. So with the dwarf plants that are already setting blossoms, I'm gonna get pots and plant them in pots because these are not gonna get any bigger, and they are pot stable plants. So these ones I'm definitely going to keep. They probably won't go into the ground, but I am going to put them in larger pots. And then I did start more seeds to go in the ground. By the way, this smells amazing. It smells just like tomatoes, obviously. Over here we have just some more stuff. This is a Winter Queen squash for my sister. And then I have peppers, which these are the size of peppers that you really like to see for our growing season. These peppers, once they're in the ground, they are going to do so well. They're a great size, and probably in a couple weeks they will start setting, well, not in a couple weeks, but a couple weeks after they're planted in the ground, they will likely have fruit on them, or peppers or whatever. So I'm really happy with the peppers. Like, this one is super healthy back here too, and there's another pumpkin. So I'm really happy with the peppers, and the peppers I will likely start early again next year, but the tomatoes I will definitely hold off on. Ow. Okay, so I am shading this a little bit, but these are my tomatoes, and some of them obviously have to get watered, but these are the tomato seedlings I started about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They are doing amazing. They are so strong, not leggy at all, and the greenhouse has changed growing seedlings tremendously. I'm not going to go through all of the different kinds. These are marigolds right here, and I'm super impressed with how healthy the marigolds are. And I mean, the tomatoes are super, super healthy too, but I'm just not going to go over every single one of them. It's just, maybe I'll do that in a different video, but this is what I was talking about. Those are the Tiny Tim. They're dwarf plants to begin with, so they only get about 12 inches high. I actually have one down here, so hold on a second. Right here I have one of those Tiny Tim tomatoes, and obviously it needs some support, but this is about as big as it's gonna get. So this is about as big as it's gonna get. It's about 12, maybe 16 inches tall, and you can see this one has blossoms as well. So like I said, I am leaving these as they are, and I'm gonna plant these a little bit deeper, probably to about here, and then I'm gonna just let them grow. This has a ton of suckers on it right now, so I'm gonna pinch those. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of little cherry tomato comes off this plant, because it's so stinking cute. So the only other thing that I have down here are my beans. So I have purple burgundy bush beans and these two, and you can actually kind of see a little guy coming up right there. So that's exciting. And then over here I have dragon tongue bush beans. So these are perfectly fine in the pots, but the cold night temperatures are just a little bit too cold for them, so I put them in here. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that it's just a little bit shorter than some of my other videos, and I'm really hoping to get more gardening videos on YouTube. I was really ashamed of the mistakes that I made with my first set of seedlings, and once they took off, man, I'm telling you, they took off. I couldn't control them. They were getting burned by my heat lamps, and that's why I have to go through some of my tomatoes, because they were just burned at the top and they're not going to grow anymore. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to let some of my tomato plants rest in peace, because they're just not going to produce the same as a tomato that was not burnt at the top. And also I have a ton of seeds that, or like seedlings that I'm probably not going to be able to plant anyway. A lot of these plants behind me are going to end up either being sacrificed because they're unhealthy and too big, or given away. My one sister definitely does a garden. My other sister, she wants to do a garden, but it didn't happen last year. So it's very possible that I may end up giving away plants to my sisters or other people in my community that want to start gardens. I think right now is a great time to start a garden. I'm working from home for right now, but it makes me so happy to know that when I need a break, I can come out to the greenhouse and check my plants and water them and talk to them, because yes, I do talk to my plants, and it just makes me feel so much better about everything that's going on. But yeah, that's why I stopped making gardening videos, was because I was so ashamed of the problems that I was causing with my original tomato starts, and I just didn't want to show them. I didn't want you guys to see the things that I did wrong, and I guess this video is kind of like my redemption video, but it's still kind of embarrassing to know that I was so excited to start seeds that I started them way too early, and the heat lamps were too hot and they grew too fast. And so these plants have healed a lot. Like, they're way healthier than they were down in the basement with me, but they're still just, some of them are still not healthy enough. So like I said, I'm going to make another video of me going through these plants. I'm going to prune them, so I'm going to pick off the suckers, and then I'm also going to unfortunately sacrifice some of the plants that I know are not going to reap the same amount of produce as a typical plant would. But I have to water these. I have to start closing up the greenhouse, because even though it was really nice today, it's gonna get cold again at night, so I don't want any of the plants to get damaged. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!